Howdy, howdy. Welcome to Mo's World, the baseball podcast. Yep, another baseball podcast. Here we talk about baseball like a few friends sitting at the bar. We welcome your input to help us improve and make us grow. Awesome! Today's fourth episode will look at the results of the 2023 Major League Baseball rule changes. We had a season and almost a half of the rule changes. So, what do we think? I'll tell you, I'm a fan of all of them. Some have worked out better than others, but all in all, I like them, especially the pitch clock. Now, if you've visited a minor league baseball team at all, you've seen how it moves the game along, and it really takes nothing away. Oh, wait, before I jump into this, maybe I need to give you a refresher on what the rule changes were. Okay, so we had the pitch timer. In an effort to create a quicker pace of play, a 30-second timer between batters was implemented. Between pitches, there was a 15-second timer with the bases empty and a 20-second timer with runners on base. The pitcher must begin his motion to deliver the pitch before the expiration of the pitch timer. Pitchers who violate the timer are charged with an automatic ball. Batters who violate the timer are charged with an automatic strike. The batters must be in the box and ready for the pitcher by an 8-second mark, or else be charged with an automatic strike. With runners on base, the timer resets if the pitcher attempts a pickoff or steps off the rubber. Pitchers are limited to 2 disengagements, or pickoff attempts, or step-off, per plate appearance. However, this limit is reset if a runner or runners advance during the plate appearance. If a third pickoff attempt is made, the runner automatically advances 1 base if the pickoff attempt is not successful. Mound visits, injury timeouts, and offensive team timeouts do not count as a disengagement. Umpires, they may provide extra time if warranted by special circumstances. My thoughts? Well, at last check, the pitch timer had reduced the average time in minor league baseball by about 26 minutes. And that includes limits to throws to first base and has also increased stolen base attempts. With this rule in place and the minors last year, steal attempts per game increased from 2.23% in 2019 and had a 68% success rate. Now wait till you hear the major league results on that. Now, length of game? For a number of years, the average length of a 9-inning game in the majors kept getting longer and longer and longer. I think it's obvious the pitch clock has made a major impact. For 2023, the average length of a 9-inning Major League Baseball game was 2 hours and 39 minutes. That's a 24-minute decline from the average length in 2022. Plus, it was a half hour shorter from 2021, which had set the mark at 3 hours and 10 minutes per game. In 2023, there were only 9 games that lasted 3.5 hours or longer. By comparison, in 2021, there were 390 games that had lasted that long. Major League Baseball noted it marked the first time since 2015 that the average length of time fell under 3 hours. In addition, it was the shortest length of time for a 9-inning game since 1985, 2 hours and 40 minutes. The 1984 season, that was 2 hours and 35 minutes. So how can you not like that? Defensive shifts. What else was going on? Okay, so we had defensive shifts. What did they consist of? Well, the defensive team must have a minimum of 4 players on the infield, with at least 2 infielders completely on either side of second base. Now, these restrictions were intended to increase the batting average on balls in play and to allow infielders to better showcase their athleticism and to restore more traditional outcomes of batted balls. So the four infielders must be within the outer boundary of the infield when the pitcher is on the rubber. They can't be standing in the outfield. Infielders may not switch sides. In other words, a team can't reposition its best defender on the side of the infield. The batter is more likely to hit the ball. If the infielders are not aligned properly at the time of the pitch, the offense can choose an automatic ball or the result of the play, if it's a hit. The rule does not preclude a team from positioning an outfielder in the infield or in the shallow outfield grass in certain situations, but it does prohibit a four outfielder alignment. So, what is this all supposed to mean? Well, have you heard the term BABIP? Batting average on balls in play. So that's relative, a new term that's come into play past few years. BABIP. It measures a player's batting average exclusively on balls hit into the field of play. It removes the outcome that's not affected by the opposing defense, namely home runs or strikeouts. For example, a hitter who goes 2 for 5 with a home run and a strikeout would have a .333 BABIP. Means he's 1 for 3 on balls he put in play. The formula looks like a rocket formula, so I'm not even going to tell you. But why is it useful? BABIP can be used to provide some great context when evaluating both pitchers and hitters. The league average is typically around 290. I've heard it say 300, but it hasn't been 300 in years. To me, it seems like the data is getting better, but the K percent, the strikeout percentage, is still hovering around 22.2% of all batters, as opposed to 10 years ago. It was only 19.8%. So we all know that everybody's swinging more for the fence now, obvious. So the batting average on balls in play still needs to improve for me. I'd like to see it approach the 2012 level of 297. Even 2023 was at 297, which is a nice improvement from the 2022 total of 290. I guess the rule changes and shifting definitely help. Now, what else changed in 2023? Bigger bases. That's right. Our bases got fatter. The bases, which traditionally have been 15 inches square, in 2023, it was changed to 18 inches square. Home plate, unchanged. Though this can have a modest impact on stolen base success, the primary goal of this change was to give players more room to operate and to avoid collision. This is especially true at first base, where fielders have an extra 3-inch advantage to stay out of harm's way from the base runner while receiving throws. This change created a 4.5-inch reduction in the distance between first and second base, between second base and third as well, which encouraged more stolen bases. The bigger bases had a slight effect of reducing oversliding, in which a player loses contact with the bag while sliding through it. But you notice more now, you see the infielder hold the tag more, waiting for that just split second where he comes off the bag. I think that's bullshit, but whatever. So, did this affect the stolen base percentage of successful steals? Big time. Stolen base success rate increased to 80.2%, which was an all-time best in 2023. The year before the rule changes were implemented, 2022 had a success rate of 75.4% in stealing bags. There were 3,503 stolen bases in 2023. That's the most since 1987. So that is a significant impact. bigger bases and limiting the amount of pickoff throws really made a difference. What I was surprised at is the lack of pitchers attempting to pick off a runner after already throwing 2 times. I feel this needs to change. I mean, go for it. Get the runner leaning. He's getting cocky, you know? So, what's the recap on our rule changes? I think it generates a quicker paced game with the opportunity for more action. I mean, no doubt about it. Did it impact attendance? I don't know, but the total attendance for 2023 Major League Baseball season was 70.7 million, which was a 9.6 increase from the previous season. It was the first time since 2017 total attendance had surpassed 70 million guests. Now, Major League Baseball reported year-over-year attendance had increased for 26 of the 30 clubs. And you know the ones that suck. The average attendance for a Major League Baseball game was 29,295. Hell, the only way the Tampa Rays are going to get that if the Yankees are in town. Now, Major League Baseball reports 17 teams had total attendance exceeding 2.5 million. In addition, for the first time in a decade, there were 8 ball clubs that surpassed 3 million in home attendance. The Los Angeles Dodgers, San Diego Padres, the New York Yankees, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Atlanta Braves, Philadelphia Phillies, the Houston Astros, and the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, baseball also noted there were 11 weekends in which attendance surpassed 1.5 million, and that's the most since 2017. So I'm going to say it impacted attendance. Now, more action? Let's see. The rule changes were designed to make the game more exciting, and it definitely was. The batting average in 2023 was a total of 248. That's a whopping 5-point increase from 2022. Still pretty poor. Now, the average number of runs scored per game increased from 8.6 in 2022 to 9.2 in 2023. The number of stolen bases were also up. In 2023, there are 1.4 stolen bases per game in 1.8 attempts. In 2022, there was an average of 1 stolen base per game with 1.4 attempts. A Major League Baseball noted the success rate of base stealing attempts increased from 75.4% in 2022 to, like we said before, a record high 80.2% in 2023. The total number of home runs also increased from 5,215 in 2022 to 5,868 in 2023. The number of strikeouts, they grew to 41,844 in 2023 from 40,812 in 2022. The number of walks also rose to 15,819 in 2023 from 14,853 the year before. So, more balls are in play with the shift restriction. So, I like that. Still miss the base hit up the middle, though. They're still clogging the center. But there's one rule change that began during the 2020 pandemic season that was made permanent. That basically it's still an overwhelming majority of fans surveyed don't like the runner at second at the start of extra innings. Now, at first, I didn't like it either. It just didn't seem like baseball. But I don't know. I've gotten used to it. I kind of like the result of a quick kill extra innings game as opposed to 16 innings of nothing happening at 2 o'clock in the morning. And what kills me, though, is I'm watching a game, it's 1-1 going into extra innings, and I fall asleep. So I check the scores the next morning, and the final score is 7-6 in 12 innings. I'm like, what the hell? I missed the whole game. It seems like everybody can score with runners on second, right? I think the balanced schedule is the thing I like the most. The balanced schedule was huge, and it was promised that every team would play at least one series against all others for the first time in Major League Baseball history. So you saw that it was pretty obvious playoff contenders didn't benefit too much from playing in a weak division, and fans got to see teams and players that otherwise might not come to town. So I do think the balanced schedule was the reason that attendance was up this year. I'm still concerned about strikeout rates, but I guess I can't have everything. Look, I've enjoyed our chat about the 2023 rule change. I hope you enjoyed our fourth episode of Mo's World, the baseball podcast. Join us weekly, new episodes released Friday for about a 20-minute broadcast. Next week's podcast will talk about Major League Baseball versus minor league baseball. Have you gone to a minor league game? If you are a baseball fan, it's something you have to support. We will talk a little bit about the logistics and the experiences. And, well, once again, thank you for listening. Please leave your comments. And whose world is it? It's Mo's World.